What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Common Sense, Logic, and Reason. And as always, still thank y'all for joining me in this video. One of my subscribers and one of my commenters on one of my most recent videos asked me to comment on white privilege or make a video on white privilege. And that's something I had actually been meaning to do. So I figured, hey, let's get around to it. But anyway, I'm a conservative in my standing, so I'm pretty sure people can have it, probably can guess what my view on white privilege is. That is utter nonsense, and it really truly doesn't exist. The only place it exists really truly is in the minds of the race hustlers, the brainwashed blacks, and these apologetic whites who've been conned into the nonsense. But what exactly is white privilege then? I mean, I've heard excuses of it, examples of it, and everything I've heard has been utterly ridiculous. You know, something as ridiculous as white privilege is that white people can get band-aids in their skin shed, you know, which is laughable. And I've heard, you know, well, white people can get a cab to drop them off at their doorstep, right? Even though the reason why cabs weren't going into black neighborhoods is because niggas was robbing them, okay? And it's not even existing anymore. That's something from, I believe, like the early 2000s or something like that. Hell, it might have been from the 90s, and something that happened, you know, in the 90s where police officers, cab drivers stopped going in certain neighborhoods, and that doesn't even exist anymore, but they're still crying about it. But what exactly is white privilege then? I mean, what exactly is it that a white person in America can do or achieve that any other minority can? I mean, is there an income, a lifestyle, a job title, a trade, an occupation that basically only white people can obtain? Hell, they can't even say president no more because we've had the black president. So, I mean, anybody of any means, anybody, I don't care what your skin shade or what your color is, you can go out there and achieve what you want, provided you put in effort. So again, how are white people, quote unquote, so privileged in the country then? What is this privilege? And is it college? Is there a college or university that's only for white people? No. And as Larry Elder put it, if education is a pathway to prosperity, then the fact that blacks can get into a college or university with a lower ACT score and lower credentials than a white person or an Asian person, well, you can say that in that regard, that's black privilege. Or the fact that a black person can get out here and say whatever they want about anybody and receive no retribution, that could be black privilege. I mean, the only time I've ever seen black people really receive any retribution is speaking of anything ill against homosexuals. Beyond that, maybe I would say in this day and age, maybe if a black person, say on social media, said something about maybe Islam or something, but for the most part, black people can say whatever they want by anybody and receive no retribution. So what is this white privilege then? How exactly is it expressed? And what exactly, I mean, it's not like you're a white person and you just got it made in shade, everything just falls out of the sky. You know, you walking down the street, trip and fall, you know what I'm saying, and you fall into some money, or you wake up in the morning one day, you yawn and you bring your hand back and there's a deed to some property in your hand. White people got to get out here and work too. So I mean, just the fact that white people have a higher income per capita than black people is not any evidence of any white privilege, because in that case we would have, again, Asian privilege, because Asian people outperform white people in just about every metric out there. So really, again, I say this in one of my prior videos, that really truly Asian privilege in a lot of ways supersedes white privilege. So again, white privilege only exists in minds of brainwashed people who drunk the Kool-Aid of the nonsense. It doesn't exist. Now, you can say that white people over black people are much more likely to grow up in an intact family, with a mother and a father, and again, as the evidence shows, children who are in that situation are much more likely to do better than children who grew up in single-parent households without father. But then, it's not white privilege or white supremacy the reason why blacks tend to have the highest rate of out-of-wedlock birth rates and highest rate of single-parent households without father. That's behavior. So that's what we do for ourselves. It's not something that white people do. But again, I would love for somebody to give me an actual legitimate claim of white privilege, because I haven't seen it. In most part, it's just utter nonsense and crying and just exclusive behavior, deflecting, the same tired rhetorical nonsense. So white privilege doesn't exist. It's nonsense, and it's just more foolishness that all the race hustlers use to keep black people angry and enraged about race, of which they, of course, profit from. Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, crying about white privilege, but here they are living a life better than probably, I would say, 99% of white people. White privilege doesn't exist. People drop it. And as always, until next time.